So this summer, our family took a 2-week trip to Italy. In this video, I'll show you some of the highlights of our time in Sicily, and I'll also share some ideas about how to go sketching when you're traveling with other people who don't necessarily like to sketch. We flew from Rome and landed in Palermo, which is the capital city of Sicily. We stayed in an Airbnb that was really close to the center of the city. This was my first time staying in an Airbnb, and it sure didn't disappoint. The Airbnb was beautiful. It had big rooms and amazing high ceilings. There was a lemon tree in the backyard, and we could even feed goldfish from a little pond. My first tip is to bring 2 types of art supplies, a smaller pack for daily excursions and a larger pack with more supplies for when you're not out and exploring. From our place in Palermo, we could just walk right out to the old city center and explore all the amazing sights. We went to the botanical gardens and these incredible churches. We even did a really fun tour of the outdoor markets and tasted the street food. There was lots of seafood and of course the famous tripe sandwich, amazing olives, and gelato. Since we were out walking all day, I didn't want to carry around a huge sketchbook full of sketching supplies. So I took a smaller pack with just a couple of small sketchbooks and 2 packs of various markers and pencils and some water brushes. It's important that it doesn't weigh too much because it could really take a toll even after a couple of hours of walking around. I also recommend that you carry them in a bag that's really easy to access so that you can make a quick sketch if something just catches your eye. My second tip is to be generous with your art supplies. And by that, I mean to be open to encouraging other people to make some marks in your sketchbooks. First of all, it could be a great way to engage with the people that you're with and to have a fun record of the time that you're spending together. Sometimes people will remember that they actually like to draw, and it's nice to remind people of that. You can also play some drawing games like Pictionary or Exquisite Corpse. That last game is one that was invented by the Surrealists, and it's basically a visual version of the game of telephone. Someone draws a head and folds over the paper, someone else draws a body, folds the paper, and then someone else draws the legs. It's always a surprise to see what gets drawn, and it's just a creative way to have fun with your sketchbook. When you share your sketchbooks this way, it also reminds you that you shouldn't be too precious about your art materials. For me, it's a way to stay loose and to remember that I'm not aiming for perfection. At the end of the day, it's just always better to be using these supplies than not. After Palermo, we drove to Agrigento, which is on the southern coast of Sicily. And here we stayed in another amazing Airbnb that was literally right on the beach. It had this amazing terrace, and this is where I had a chance to bring out my larger pack of art supplies and just set up on the terrace, spread everything out, and sketch away. And this brings me to the third tip, which is to switch your focus to just the idea of starting a sketch and be okay with not finishing them. So while I was sketching on the terrace, I ended up making a lot of starts, and I found I didn't always have the time to finish them. We had arranged for some tours of the old Greek and Roman temples, or we had to go food shopping, or we just wanted to get out and go for a swim on that beautiful beach. So instead of feeling frustrated by being interrupted, I just switched my attitude so that it was more about the sketches that I started than the ones that I finished. And in fact, I think I learned to think of my sketchbooks more as a series of starts. You can always get back to those sketches later if you want to finish them. But I came to appreciate the boldness and the excitement of those initial strokes. It's easy to overdo a drawing where it starts to feel too considered or labored. And that's for me when it starts to lose some of the magic. And it's often those first initial quick gestures that just end up looking so much more vital and alive. There is really a lot of energy to those first marks. From Agrigento, we drove up the mountains north to the last Airbnb near a town called Polina. Sicily is a relatively small island compared to Canada, where I'm from, and we could easily drive around by car, as long as you're not intimidated by narrow medieval roads and really steep switchbacks. The roads were so steep, even to walk up of, and this picture here is a place where we actually got our car stuck and had to reverse out. Needless to say, we spent a lot of time in the rental car, which brings me to my fourth tip. You need to look for downtime in the itinerary. Despite being squished in the back seat of the rental car, I took the time sitting in the car just to sketch some views outside my window. I often do these quick, loose car sketches because it really forces me not to obsess so much about finding the perfect scene. And the things that you're sketching are so fleeting. It helps you really learn to sketch more from memory and find your impressions of a place, and helps you learn to use your imagination more. So this last Airbnb was also great. It looked just like a Bauhaus villa. It had a pool and this little courtyard inside. It was perched right on the side of a mountain, so we had these incredible views of the sea. And this brings me to my last tip, which is to practice little and often. A change in a routine will help you develop some new habits. Travel can be a great opportunity to just shake up your normal routine and lead to creating a new schedule for yourself. When you travel, you're taken out of your normal errands and routines, and these daily things that you do, you sometimes don't even think about it. It just feels all consuming. So while I was traveling, I was really trying to make an effort to do just a little sketching every day. And it really helped to ingrain this habit again. It's been a really busy summer for me with other projects that I've been working on. And sometimes the whole idea of sketching and making art can just sink to the bottom of that priority list. So it's good to know that even if you just have 10 minutes, you can pull out your sketchbook and observe what's around you and just record those first ideas and impressions. This last Airbnb was really near a town called Cefalù, and there were these amazing beaches along the coast. Being at the beach was also a really great opportunity to bring my sketchbook and just sketch the scene around me. And you often don't need to be too discerning about what the subject matter is. It is really whatever is in front of you. And if you try this practice, you may find that you can just take what you've learned on your vacation and incorporate it back when you're at home from your holiday. And now that I'm back at home, and despite other jobs and obligations that I have to think about, I know that it doesn't take too long just to make a quick little drawing. I have been doing a lot of digital art this summer, so to have the chance to be making art on paper with messy materials, it's really reminded me of the importance of working on real things from the real world. I like the feeling of that wet brush to paper and the sound of the pencil as it scratches the surface. And when I look back at these drawings now, no matter how incomplete, It really takes me back to the day that I made that sketch and all of the memories and sounds and scents that I associate with it. So I hope that these suggestions about how to make drawings while traveling will help you with your sketching, either on vacation or at home. Apparently you only need 21 days to create a habit, so if you start while you're on a 2-week vacation, then you're practically almost there. I had a really great time in Sicily, and even if I didn't create masterpieces, I still managed to balance a vacation with my family and a commitment to some kind of artistic practice. If you stay to the end of the video, I'll show you a quick little tour of the sketches that I made, and that's it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.